80 years since the end of World War II.
証言する人もいなくなるし、私もそうですけど、時間がないと思いますので。
With little time remaining, the Hibakusha continue to share their voices around the world.
誰がどうしてこんなひどいことをするのかと怒りがこみ上げ、無性に腹が立ってきました。
This is not just a memory of the past. Even at this moment, wars continue in reality.
Допоможіть зупинити російську армію вже зараз, бо завтра буде вже пізно.
What can we do right now? Amidst uncertain times, we continued to question this throughout the 3.5-month journey. Marking 80 years since the end of World War II, approximately 1,700 people joined this voyage. Over 107 days from April to August, visiting 18 countries, we delivered the voices of atomic bomb survivors, learned about history, faced the reality of conflicts ongoing today, and considered what each and every one of us can do for peace. The Peace Boat Hibakusha project began in 2008. This year marks the 18th year of sharing atomic bomb testimonies around the world. The average age of Hibakusha is now over 85. They joined the voyage, thinking that it may be their last chance. 4 Hibakusha joined this voyage, giving testimony in 21 ports across 18 countries.
1945年8月6日8時15分に何の前触れもなく人の手で原爆投下、高温の風、爆風、放射の黒い雨が全ての上に注ぎました。その場で亡くなった人、生き残っても体は焼かれ、皮膚は溶けて爪から垂れ下がり、幽霊のように水を求めて歩く姿、誰がどうしてこんなひどいことをするのかと怒りがこみ上げ、無性に腹が立ってきました。
亡くなられた遺体は一晩置いただけで腐敗がし、ウジ虫が湧き、嫌な匂いがしました。そんな人たちを近くの空き地に集めて石油をかけて火葬が始まりました。火葬というよりもまるでゴミの焼却のようなすら感じがしました。まだ5歳にもなっていなかった小さな子供のことですけども、その時の光景だけは脳裏に焼き付いて、嫌な匂いが鼻について、一生忘れることのできない光景となりました。
原爆は他の爆弾と違い、放射能の影響があります。生き延びた被爆者の多くはいまだにさまざまな後遺症に苦しめられています。原爆の悲惨さを、苦しみを、悲しみを誰彼とも味わってほしくありません。放射能の怖さを被爆者はよく知っています。
The world heard their stories and responded.
We cried with them to see that this is how nuclear wars or nuclear bombs can really and truly destroy communities and upend lives.
For nuclear war to never happen again. And this was very impressive, and this will stay with us for life, and we'll continue to tell this story.
They urged future generations to carry on the experiences of the Hibakusha.
もう被爆者はいなくなります。ですので、あとは皆さんに託するしかないのです。だからどうぞお願いです。被爆者の話をたくさん聞いて、そしてそれを皆さんに分かち合ってください。
They continued to share their testimony, believing this can change the world little by little. As well as experiencing the atomic bombings, Japan was also a wartime aggressor. In Singapore, where many lives were taken under the Japanese occupation, we visited a memorial and museum to learn about the history of Japan's aggression.
過去の歴史の反省と慰霊の念を持って私たちはやっぱり未来に進んでいかないといけないと思うんですよ。
On board the ship, in addition to testimony sessions, a special exhibition was installed. It honors Nihon Hidankyo, the 2024 Nobel Peace Prize laureate. The Nobel Peace Center in Oslo, Norway. The exhibition can usually only be viewed here. However, in partnership with the Nobel Peace Center, a special outreach edition was installed on board Peace Boat.
これが船に乗ってピースボートっていう名前の船に乗って世界中を回るということはすごく大きな意味を持ちうると思います。
Viewings were held for local citizens, government officials, and the media in ports of call. Through photographs and testimonies, people felt the reality of the atomic bombs more directly, conveying the message with even greater strength.
And I want to support nuclear abolition efforts in any way I can. And I think the Hibakusha especially sent a very powerful message in mentioning that they themselves are very ordinary citizens, and everything that they have achieved at this point it has been achieved through cooperation and through peace and just spreading the word of their own experiences.
It's so wrong and so horrible what happened, and it should never happen again, and I fear we're headed that way, and it's a scary world right now, and my government included, and just wish that it never gets to the point that this is relived or re-experienced.
Pues cuando estaba viendo las imágenes sentí como así como un piquetito, porque pues me pongo a pensar en lo que ellos debieron haber vivido. Se me hace triste que pues muchas personas hayan perdido la vida y a lo mejor esas personas tenían como alguna meta o algo. Deberían pues dejar de pelear.
These efforts bore fruit when a city in France signed an appeal for nuclear weapons abolition. In nuclear-armed France, citizens raising their voices is vital. This moment proved our efforts are not powerless. This ship has continued to convey the horrors of nuclear weapons through Hibakusha testimonies and through this exhibition. However, wars are not something of the past. Many are being waged even today. Two women who survived wartime sexual violence in Ukraine joined the ship to share their testimonies.
Я пройшла через сексуальне насильство від когось, кого я не бачила, тому що на голові в мене була постійно вдягнута якась шапка.
Sexual violence during wartime has been used by Russian forces as a weapon of war. Those who suffered were innocent citizens from their teens to their 70s. Their suffering cannot be expressed in words, and yet they continue to speak out.
Нам дуже потрібна ваша допомога. Допоможіть зупинити російську армію вже зараз, бо завтра буде вже пізно. Завтра, може, нас не стане.
War destroys not only innocent lives, but entire futures. In 1988, in Halabja, Iraq, the Iraqi government's use of chemical weapons claimed countless civilian lives. Sunako Muhammad Ahmed lost his family in a chemical weapons attack, yet miraculously survived. But not knowing his own identity, he was raised by foster parents in neighboring Iran, growing up as a stateless refugee. After many years, he was finally reunited with his mother. This reunion was a rare miracle, yet the reality is that many are still unable to find their families. War takes not only lives, but also families, hometowns, and even identities.
The whole attack, I guess, take less than 20 minutes. That 20 minutes had changed a lot of people's life.
Journalist Jasna Bastic survived the Yugoslav wars and speaks of the dangers of propaganda.
The war is not an incident, the war is a project. There is a saying in ex-Yugoslavia, the words killed more people than bullets.
In multi-ethnic ex-Yugoslavia, the media fueled hatred between different ethnic communities until it escalated into war. War begins harming people long before the fighting starts, with nuclear testing a stark example. The United States, the Soviet Union, and other nuclear powers conducted repeated tests in preparation for nuclear war. Mary Dixon is a downwinder exposed to radioactive fallout from US nuclear testing. Growing up in Utah, she was unknowingly exposed throughout her childhood. In her 20s, she was diagnosed with thyroid cancer and underwent organ removal and radiation treatment. She was even deprived of the opportunity to have children, yet continued to speak out while living with constant fear of recurrence.
I have been sliced, radiated, and scooped out. I have buried and mourned the dead, comforted and advocated for the living, and worried with each pain, ache, and lump that I am getting sick again, that cancer might return as it has for many of my family and friends. I survived. Too many others did not.
Far away from the United States, Kazakhstan was also the site of repeated nuclear tests by the former Soviet Union. Alisher Kasengaliev is a Kazakh youth who has dedicated himself to advocating for a nuclear-free future. In Kazakhstan, the 456 nuclear tests conducted by the Soviet Union caused severe health problems among the local population.
Kazakh people as worthless, as an expendable, and that they can use our environment and our local people as their resource to do these deadly experiments.
The harm from nuclear weapons knows no borders, and neither should the path to their abolition. The voices and lessons from throughout the journey left lingering questions for participants. In one example, a lecture by ICANN revealed that some pension funds and banks around the world invest in nuclear weapons producers. A participant who heard this shared,
We never thought that Mitsui Sumitomo were being used to invest in nuclear weapons. Did anyone? Nobody knew about that. It was so shocking for all of us. It was so shocking.
These realizations and uneasy feelings eventually sparked the question, what can we do? Peaceboat co-created a space to explore that question, the Onboard International Conference. Building on what they had learned on board, participants shared their personal hopes for peace.
How can there be peace without people understanding each other? And how can this be if they don't know each other?
対話を諦めないこと、そしてその積み重ねが きっと平和へと続く道になると信じています。
People of diverse nationalities and generations spoke, each sharing what we can each do to contribute to a more peaceful world. One step at a time, each person considered what they could do. No action too small. 2 questions asked of people around the world became a guide toward the future.
There is nothing so destructive, so ugly, so dehumanizing as war. We don't need it. We have to prevent it.
We have to realize that war is not happenstance.
First of all, we need to abolish nuclear weapons.
We should stop all weapons development.
Education could be redirected towards peace.
So, today's job we're doing is very, very important.
We need to raise our voice, even if we feel that might not do a lot, but let's still do it.
Well, I think the most important thing I strive for is to empower children.
Hoping for peace are not only ordinary citizens. United Nations representatives also shared their insights from their work advancing peace globally.
First, we need to take responsibility. We need to, in our own lives, our family, in our communities, practice dialogue, practice conflict resolution. We also need, I think, as nations, we have young people. We need to empower the youth, to instill in them a positive mindset, how to resolve conflict, to embrace cultural understanding, tolerance, to be global citizens.
I think the top priority is for us to remember that it's the innocent civilians that take the biggest casualty of those wars. Why we actually have to work towards peace. The answer is that it's for all of us, the humans. Every one of us really have to think about what we can do. Peace can be something, in terms of a perception image, something that is far away from you, but you have to really own it. Addressing, prejudice, biases, discrimination, injustices, all these things just around you in your community, just, whatever the place you are, is actually going to contribute to more sustainable peace. I am confident that 8 years from now, it will be a better, more peaceful, more stable world.